Hello and welcome. Let's go back in time, and not that much in time, but early March 2017. During this time frame, it had been nearly close to a year where Steam had been trading, and this thing was going way down. After it went way up, a lot of volatility, and amongst the buy low, sell high strategy, well, it meant that if you got in on the open here, you were able to get some early small sales, buybacks, even a bit more buying here, a little bit of selling up here, buybacks, maybe a bit more buying, and a whole whack of selling. It would have been one by one, week by week, and even multiple weeks by weeks where you're getting your buybacks in time. And again, a bit more, like was the case back in here. And then we had a situation where it had a longer sideways correction after a much long, steady decline. And a lot of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is because in looking at this chart, there's a lot of current altcoins against the Bitcoin cross that are going through similar behaviors. Maybe they had a little bit of a rally spot here and there, gave it all back. And then you see the X amount that it loses. In this case, at the time, it had went from 007 to 0001. So I'm not going to be Jum's. It's actually even 008. But we'll go just for purposes of where it was for a decent amount of time, 007. So where does it go 0007? So right in here, it lost 10 times its value. And then it ended up losing, it was at the area of losing over 100 times its value at this point. And when I was starting trading, I'm just a couple weeks into my trading at this point. I'm looking at all of these altcoins, and a lot of them are in downtrends at this point, just like a lot of altcoins today are in downtrends. And one of the immediate trading calls, if you will, that I had made at the time, and literally immediate, meaning I put out a PDF file, and pretty much as it was going out, what I calculated was you have this low and you have this high. So what was the low back in here? 12.78 and like 44.5. What I remember calculating then was this down target of 59 and 11. So at this point it was 6,500. So I'm like, okay, this is about to hit soon. It appears below 6,000. I put a buy order in at 6,000. And then what happened, let me just go like this so we can see more periods. It goes down to 59. So there we have it. The buy order was in. Now, thankfully, it worked out that anyone who got my material at that time had a decent amount of time before this thing really started to break out to get into buying it. But then all of this happened. A huge move. And whenever you have a huge move, the ultimate hold. And generally speaking, and this is the upgrade reason right here. So I like teaching, so I guess I call it teaching. When you have a move like this, okay, we were in a downtrend. It had a failed breakout attempt back in here. It got above, really needed to hold this area. We can see rather okay, we'll go a bit below here, but okay, breakout, support the lows, fine. But not when you have this, where you grind the lows, then you resist the lows, and off she went down. So another attempt, whenever you see this, you're in the decline. Okay, well, 18 average of highs is there. Oh, now that changes because at first, after this day, when it went up this, I just want to see it hold this. But whenever you have a situation where you go from 6 up to 33, basically a 5x move in pretty much 3 days. Yeah, somewhere higher Fibonacci percentage is what I'd be thinking. And then we can see here that it held a good retracement. It went below the 18 lows, but when this is the case, can it recover it fast because it was such a fast move up? And it did. It got above it, And then we can see along the time it hit this resistance, established resistance, and then a big move up here. And I'm just now going to take a look at this to current now and adjust it to the weekly term time frame. And this is what we have. So that move got up to that high of, well, originally up to 93, 95. 15x move. Long decline, the rise. Decline, the rise. The decline and the failed breakout. Here, well, now we've had a move back down to this level. Will it go lower? Maybe. And in looking at such like this, when's the best time to buy? When's the best time to sell? Well, as it's going down. And then you could be in situations where you're like, okay, let's put in a buy in here. Let's say you bought here. And you're going to put a sell order somewhere up around here. That probably came from a sell order around here. And let me just see, is this 18? That's pretty much. Let me redo it. So the best thing would be was check the price. What was this? The 10 handle? Okay. So let's just assume that you had a buy in at about, I don't know, say somewhere around here. See, this buy would have represented maybe this sale. And this buy in here, which you are still holding today, might have been from this sale. And then this buy might have been from one of the ones up here. And then this buy, well, it would have taken you a long time to sell it. You would have bought October 2016, you would have sold it in May of 2017. That's how it goes. And then if you were buying in here, well, maybe you could sell that instantly. Then everything you sell up here, you buy, and so on and so forth. So obviously, in this little run in here, the price action was at it was trading firmly above 7. And this went to 14. So if you're looking for 60-70% moves, oh, you bought it like, say, 75-50. Okay, let's put a sell order at like, 60% moves. So like 114, 130, it hit. So there's still opportunities. Whatever happens from here, I actually looked at it and I find it really interesting. You have to actually do an email and like telephone identification, which doesn't sound all too bad, just to be able to not have to queue an account. So it looks a little complicated for setting up your private keys within it, so I'm probably not going to trade it. But I wanted to give that reference, of course, from back then because a lot of coins today, well, they're in downtrends. This is Dash. It's in a downtrend. Ethereum has been in a primary downtrend along the way. And coins like Yo-Yo. Oh, just like Steam, it had a good rally, and then it went down, and it's been down for quite some time. And if it's going to be like it was before, and I'm not going to just try to pump up the fact that it will be. I'd like to use that word if. But markets go up and then markets go down. That's always been the cycle, and it's always going to be that cycle. This is not a coin I'm trading. I haven't even looked at the wallet yet. Actually, might have looked at it briefly a few days ago. But if 20, 30, 40x gains, there can be a time at any given point for it to happen. And if you were back, and I know this doesn't work out too well because it's happened so fast, but you could have been like, yeah, I'm just going to buy. I don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take maybe weeks, months, years, but I'm just going to buy and sell when it goes up. And, sell some. And then it goes down. And you got your early moves, and now you're saying the same thing here, back in like February of this year and all that. And, well, of last year, rather. Then it goes down, a little bit of a rally, and then back down some more. And you were saying in here, maybe it's going to happen soon, last summer. And maybe it will. It's a time waiting game. But even along the way, when you're waiting for it to happen, I mean, if you're playing this with buy and sell orders, There's so many different levels looking at the daily time frame, just even going back in here. We have a market go from 293 up to 746. And along the way, maybe you're able to sell and buy in this little range. Maybe you're able to sell up here and buy back down here. And then even this move in here. This is a low of like 400 and a high of about 650. So there's opportunities. And obviously your buyback on this was in play. The low ended up going down to 342. And then you have and even this one here, you go up to 474, back down to 400. Maybe that's only 20% volatility. I can see why I'd miss that. Even if I did sell it like a 470 top, I'd probably look to buy it like 410 or something. And well, that would have hit, I guess. But anyway, no, 410, no, like maybe even 360, depending on my volatility again. But when you have a low of 330 and you have a high of 540, unless you're looking for like 2x moves or whatever, or maybe you bought it like, say, here and you missed your buy here, well, even if you did buy at 406, if you got that, maybe you got it in here. Either way, sell, buy, sell, buy. And then you just let the market do what it comes in. And then you get those types of flash moves. So any buy orders you had in here down to this point got hit, which meant you could have sold them immediately and thus put in new buy orders. Maybe you sell up here, maybe buy here, same thing again. This is a spot where this low is 411, this high is 644. So that's over a 50% gain, and there's definitely opportunities to take advantage of these moves when they take place. And then, like I stated, all these buy-ins you put back in, well, you had it happen immediately here. Now all the buybacks you had down to here obviously got hit. So if your last buy might have been, say, 262, well, now we've had the price go up to 400. Maybe you had a sell order here come in and say, here, okay, I'm going to look to buy back. So you had that sell order. Maybe you put a buyback order right in here. And that hasn't hit yet because it hasn't went down there to, say, 268. And that would be a move of like 30%, 40%. Maybe you put a new, maybe you got a sell order here. Maybe you got one in here. And that's, of course, having coins on the exchange. That's always the risk factor. And amongst the risk factor, how is the risk reward played out for having coins on the exchange? It has worked out better in this example because you would have been able to take advantage of all these buys where if you didn't have them on there, you wouldn't. And then during the 1 week layoff time, you would actually have been able to be buying and selling because if you're like me and you have pretty much most of all your coins on the hardware wallets, then when all their wallets go offline, then I can't move funds in and out, of course. And we'll finish this off with a quick Bitcoin update because it actually made a statement on the 1 hour term time frame earlier. As it came up in here, got above it, then it had a nice little attempt on the 10 o'clock hour. Right now it's 11:06, holding in there very nicely. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.